This topic, the next two topics are very dear to my heart because this is the first time in any conference that an incubation center directors are invited and wanted to, because we wanted to have early childhood education, we wanted to have K to 12, we wanted to have higher education, and we wanted to have what do you do after higher education, right? Because the next step is their entrepreneurial journey. And the incubators have a really major part in today's world because they're just changing the shape, the way the businesses, the startups have grown. It is absolutely insane if you realize from the start of incubation centers how long, how many startups have come up when you compare it when you didn't have a lot of incubation centers. So the nurturing that you're doing is absolutely important. So let's go ahead and do this. We are talking about inside the incubators, panel 2, building an innovation first mindset, empowering institutions to nurture next gen entrepreneurs. The moderator, I would like to welcome Mr. Himanshu Sehgal, who is the CEO, NSUT IIF Netaji Subhash University of Technology, New Delhi. I hear, sir, please join us on the stage. The moderator one, right? Then we have Mr. Anurag Dhawan, CEO, PSIT, Praveen Singh, Institute of Technology, Kanpur. Sir, please join on the stage. The next, I'll also invite Ms. Priyanka Gupta, CEO, IPEC TBI Foundation, Ghaziabad. Ma'am, are you here? Dr. Nida Fatima, Executive Director, Integral Startups Foundation, Integral University. Dr. Ramesh Mittal, Founder Director, Innovation and Entrepreneurship Federation of CCS NIEM, Professor LNMIIT, Dean to be University, Jaipur, Rajasthan. I hear, sir. Mr. Dr. Amit Sehgal, Director, Sharda Launchpad Federation, Greater Noida. Sharda happens to give us some really good interns as well. Thank you, sir. Professor S.K. Kabia, Director Basics, Bundelkhand University, Jhansi. Are you here, sir? Dr. Noor Alam Khan, Incubation Manager, President Institutions Innovation Council, Integral Startup Foundation, Integral University, Lucknow. Are you here, sir? Okay, I think we have 1, 2, 3, 4 from panel 2. Do we have the next topic is topic entrepreneurial universities fostering innovation and startups. Do I call on the stage Professor Dr. Sanjay Kumar Jha, Director, Liberal Arts and Foreign Languages, Amity University, Gurgaon. Sir, are you here? The moderator. Panelist Dr. Bhupesh Kumar Singh, Deputy Director, Amity School of Engineering and Technology, Jaipur. Sir, are you here? Mr. Ram Chandra, Professor and Advisor, BIT Group of Institutions, Gaya. Sir, are you here? Dr. Sunil Kumar Sharma, Public Relations Officer, Central University of Gujarat. Sir, are you here? Dr. Anil Kumar Sharma. Sir, Sanjay sir, I invited you to please join us on the stage. Dr. Anil Kumar Sharma, Advisor Research, Dr. K. N. Modi University, Nivai. Professor Suman Chakraborty, Director, Indian Institute of Technology, IIT Kharagpur. Sir, are you here? Thank you so much for joining in, sir. Professor Kamal Kishore Pant, Director, Indian Institute of Technology, Roorkee. Sir, are you here? I'll need few chairs on the stage as well. Professor Dr. Samir Sood, the Director, National Institute of Fashion Technology, Gandhinagar. Sir, are you here? Dr. Vandana Ahuja, Professor and Director, Symbiosis Institute of Business Management, Noida. Sovreen Roy, Director, Global Marketing and International Relations, Washington University of Science and Technology, Virginia. Sir, are you here? Please join us on the stage. You don't worry, I'll manage the aesthetics, so we are all people of design. So, if people can't come in straight line, they can definitely come in a semicircle if I'm not wrong, right? So I'll try to, arrange this in a semicircle way. Thank you. Okay, so so we've got this, comment from Dr. Sanjay Kumar Jha that we should not do merging of two panels. So it's okay. Since we only have four people, we actually had 40-50 minutes per panel. Can we reduce the time frame because we are only four? Can we reduce the time to say 25 minutes each? If that is okay, if we can cover three questions also, I think 25 minutes
We'll do that.
would be better. Thank you, sir.
So, good evening. I am Himanshu, CEO of Incubation Center of Netherlands.
Of the big problems, specifically in big cities, NCR, and now even it is going up in tier 2 cities. If you go to cities like Kanpur and even Lucknow, so you will see that those garbage, it has begun to pile up, right? So this problem is escalating across the cities from tier 1 to tier 2, very soon tier 3. So the biggest problem was that how do you solve this waste management, right? So generally, we have a mixed waste. Many policies have been created by the government that you segregate dry waste, wet waste, biodegradable, non-biodegradable. As far as tier 1 cities are concerned, people are doing it because laws are stringent and they are enforced. But when you go to tier 2, tier 3 cities, the application, implementation of these laws is not so strict. So when you have a mixed kind of waste, it's really challenging. So we have seen students who have identified techniques where mixed kind of waste can be processed, and it is still at an initial stage. Once it is fully developed and it is ready for commercialization, I think this can be a very good solution to these garbage piles that we see.
Thank you, and that sounds very nice that you are doing a lot to promote entrepreneurship among the students. And now, next question is, what are the key enablers and obstacles in promoting entrepreneurship within traditional academia? So, Dr. Dhawan, if you can answer.
Thank you, Dr. Mansur. For the key enablers, we have IIC right now, Institution Innovation Council is there, Startup India is there, DST is there. So lots of facilitation by the government and private organization as like SDFC Foundation funds is there, Citibank Foundation fund is there. So lots available in the market, and maximum if we talk about the students, so they are seeking for the funds for their initial innovations to for making the go-to-market strategies and all.
So, it's like the access to these funds, it's like how students they get access
To access these funds, the student has to reach incubators, their own incubators, and we also have a co-incubator programs with our surrounding incubators who have such kind of programs like IIT Kanpur is having Citibank Foundation fund.
Thank you. Thank you. Ms. Priyanka, I have a question like how do you encourage faculty members? Because this whole ecosystem is incomplete without including faculty members. So, what is the process, or how do we encourage faculty members to take part in this entrepreneurship process and innovation process?
Yeah, that's an important question because this panel might have been uncompleted without this discussion. Because I'm also struggling with this challenge, and the strategy which we are adopting to motivate them is a policy making, where we are giving them a free hand to become co-founders for any startup initiative, any innovation, and we are organizing few sessions to motivate them to give them insights of benefit for adopting innovation and entrepreneurial initiative in their professional journey. And with as per the very dynamic vision of our present management, we are trying to bring this in their appraisal system as well. That the professors who are getting actively involved, either they may be the co-founder, their choice, or we may consider their this particular initiative in their appraisal consideration around the year. And even special incentives are also being given. And apart from this, at my personal level, because being the leader for this particular IPEC TBI initiatives, I keep on sharing case studies to motivate them, because again, in private ecosystem, faculty is thinking my job is 9 to 5, I'm coming say, for the classroom teaching, and then why should I get indulged in this extra occupying and highly challenging domain? So we are sharing kind of Google case study, how the professor have been incentivized in the long term after supporting student innovation. So that's how we are creating at the policy level a dynamic policy to recognize their efforts for patent filing, for any mentoring involvement with the startups, and further during their classroom teaching, if they can exemplify their subject with some startup related initiatives that we are also inculcating through our monthly meetings during our as we have a kind of policy to meet every day at 4 p.m. So we are trying to bring in discussion with head of the departments that how they can especially recognize the faculties who are even little bit interested. And if we are able to come up with few success stories, then definitely it would become a dynamic system by own self.
Thank you, Ms. Priyanka and Dr. Sehgal. Like, I would also like to ask a similar question to you. Like, if because as you already have told that you have a lot of policies for students to motivate them for the entrepreneurship. So, what do you do to encourage faculty members in your university?
Yeah, definitely. So having student policies is one part. Different kind of benefits are given to the students, whether in terms of attendance, in terms of the credit system. For faculty, very rightly said by Priyanka that if faculty gets involved, then only the students will be active. So you see, the first point of contact in any education system is the faculty and the student. So they interact with them regularly. So I've experienced, I've been in the core academics for almost 15 years. As an incubator now on the other side handling the incubation system. So as an incubator, we generally interact with them maybe twice in a semester, maybe once in a month during some events. But faculties are directly on day-to-day basis, they are interacting with the students. So if we can engage faculties in the entrepreneurial initiatives, so this message will go on to the students and they will get inspired that yes, if my faculty is doing this, I can also do that. And if faculty is empowered, they understand that what is the power of being an entrepreneur, what are the benefits, they will definitely involve the students. Right now, generally what we see that in the research work, thinking about the scenario of university where we have a PhD program as one of the major things. So every faculty looks to have a good research scholar under PhD program. Right? And if the faculty is involved in entrepreneurial things, so they will prefer taking research problems which has a scope of commercialization through venture creation. And this message will spread, and then ultimately it will go to the postgraduate program. Under graduation, I see that automatically a lot of students are getting motivated. They are very active, going to a lot of events, specifically in NCR. Every day you get one program on entrepreneurship, so they have enough information. But going to the postgraduate and PhD programs, so this is where we need to involve the faculties. We have to look for the ways by which they understand the importance, they get motivated. Incentives can be there. We have introduced an incentive policy. So generally for research and patents, it's common practice in most of the institutes that the moment you get your paper published in a high repute journal, or you get your patent filed or published or granted, so you get some incentives. So we have a mechanism where if a faculty is mentoring a student and the student creates a startup which is DPID recognized, so they get an incentive. And then another thing is whatever research they have done, if they have created any new technology, any innovation the faculty has done in their labs, and generally faculties are more occupied with their research and academics. So we pass it on to the students and we give a good amount of stake in the company which is created by the students based on that particular innovation. So they feel that, okay, I'm getting a return, rather than going in the traditional way of TOD, transferring the technology to industry, which gives a very small amount of licensing fee initially, and then you just wait that it gets commercialized and company makes a profit out of it, and then you get your recurring results, which takes time, and sometimes it doesn't happen, right? Rather than that, identify the students who have that entrepreneurial mindset, who have that business acumen, make the team and pass on the technology to those students, usually undergraduate students, and give a stake in that particular company so that faculty gets regular return on the success of the company. So that is my way of doing it.
Dr. Raman, as you are from Kanpur, from PSIT, so what challenges you think that a smaller town faces, smaller town student faces in being part of the ecosystem, startup ecosystem, and how do you try to solve those challenges?
I believe I should not talk about the challenges over there, because the challenges, more the problem statements will be there, more innovations will come up automatically. So those are the basically opportunities for them. So like Dr. Sehgal has already said, some waste management issues were going on in tier 2 and tier 3 cities. So right now APR policies very much activated in tier 2 cities. So some few startups are already making some APR policies, and they are creating wooden furnitures and all from plastic waste.
So it's like it means that our policies and framework, these are easily reaching out to tier 2 and tier 3 cities as well nowadays. It's not something like it's only limited to metropolitan.
Yes, yes, it's completely reaching to tier 2 and tier 3 cities as well. And also now each and every state is having a state startup policies already there. So they are doing very well. I believe that Startup UP is very much activated into awareness programs with tier 2 and tier 3 students.
Thank you, Dr. Rahman. And now I have a next question to Ms. Priyanka. Like, how important is inter-institutional collaboration to promote entrepreneurship within the institution?
Again, a very good question. And as we know, this startup ecosystem, this innovation ecosystem is kind of boundaryless, beyond boundaries, and having all the expertise at one center is kind of something impossible. So working hand in hand is something where we can create real startup and innovation ecosystem in real sense. Recently, I was in Lucknow for a program, and there I came across one of the incubator head who was into life sciences. And trust me, I was searching for an expert incubator for one of my highly potential product in life sciences. So this is kind of something, the necessity of the day. We all have to come together to make this ecosystem complete, having our own expert areas, maybe in life sciences, maybe in deep tech, maybe in food processing, and with our resources. As much we would be collaborating, more we will be growing all together. Because it's not like something, it's my startup, it's your startup. I would like to bring in your knowledge one of the very recent case from Dr. Amit. He's one of the startup who is working in bioscience product, and he approached to me that because this startup was residing nearby my incubator, so he was more convenient to be at my place. So I really appreciate his initiative to come forward and to give him permission to be with us, and to support him by providing co-working space, marketing, branding, and further whatever we could do for him. So that's how we all need to come together and to give our 100%. Startup is not something very easy, we all know. This is one of the toughest journey, and for this journey we all have to support, having hands in hand.
Thank you. And this is actually right because every institute have their own capabilities, own resources. So it would be always better if we utilize each other resources in their respective areas. And my next question is,
Would you like to continue on this question?
yeah, please.
Okay, fine. So see, a collaborative model is definitely required. So I'll just take an example what government has done. Wonderful initiatives have been taken in the form of hub and spoke model. So we have seen under NMICPS of DST, iHubs have been created. And under Quantum Mission, hubs have been created. And under Semiconductor Mission, hubs have been created. So this hub and model spoke system is created where the institutes who are not able to reach to a level of the bigger schemes, the requirements which are there, the infrastructure or other resources which are required, they are not able to meet those requirements. So they can also be a part of such big nationwide mission-based schemes. I think we should take a step beyond that and go to the next level where we should have multi-institutional hubs. So institutes which are within the region and having skills or expertise in different domains, they should join hands and make a multi-institutional hub within that city so that the resources, the facilities, the expertise available in those institutes, it can be combined and the startups which are working at one place, so they can be benefited through all those resources. If we have a strong resource in case of healthcare science, so we have hospital, we have animal house, we have ethical committees in place for early stage clinical trials. Another institute is very strong in engineering, so they have wonderful prototyping facilities. There's another institute which is a business school. They have experts in case of business. So if these three come together, then I think the startup need not go anywhere else, and the resources would be good enough. We might not be dependent on the government funds directly, which of course is a process through a lot of documentation. And by making such kind of collaborative hubs, so at the institution levels, ourselves we can take some initiatives and support the startups and help them reach to the market stage.
Thank you, Dr. Sahib.
And one more point I would like to add, and that's how government is pushing forward this ecosystem, where all the adult tinkering labs have been connected to institution innovation councils. And under this initiative, this time we have curated an internship program for school students, where during their summer break, they get indulged with startup founders and they understand how they observed a problem, how they came up with a solution and all the hustles of a startup journey, and they enjoyed it beyond any class teaching. Yeah.
That's nice to know.
I would like to continue with this.
Yes, yes.
Basically, every incubator has its own USP, and specialization is already being fixed by government programs or schemes which are ongoing with that particular incubator. So, in our case, we are expertise with AI, ML, and wearable devices. So, any of the startups which incubator which are connected with us, any startup facilitating with AI, ML, or something, they used to send to us for grants and all, for DST grants along with mentorship programs. Right now, we are also with the Quantum Mission. So into that also we are working with one co-incubator from IIT and SIIC is there, and we collaboratively we are doing also right now if I talk about tier 2 cities, so our one of the startup it's a student startup urban research, so they have qualified at Technofest Turkey. They are number one in India right now.
Congratulations for that.
Thank you.
So,
Also, we need to cultivate more thing that we need to switch from exam-based education teaching to mission-based innovations. That is much more required.
yeah, I guess that shift is much needed for our country. Then only we can probably be in the top countries in innovation.
If we talk about Viksit Bharat 2047, so obviously we have to go for the innovations mindset. And with the slavery education system which Britishers has created, that cannot lead us to that.
Definitely. So as time is up, so now I would like to say thank you to all my panel members for sharing their valuable insights. And what we have heard today is like how we can see that clearly we are proceeding in the right direction as India is progressing in innovation and entrepreneurship. and let's commit ourselves to building ecosystems where failure is not punished basically, and where experiments are encouraged, and where every learner is a potential change maker. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you to audience as well. And any questions from audience we can entertain also.
Yeah, in case any audience have any kind of questions for our panel members, then we are ready to take it. Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much, our panelists, for that insightful discussion.